Welcome to the Life of Passion podcast. I'm your host, Dallas Michael Sear, and for the last 15 years, I've been a speaker and life coach supporting my clients in living lives and building businesses filled with purpose and passion. And here at the Life of Passion podcast, we speak to passionate entrepreneurs, inspired creatives, and conscious leaders who have amazing stories of living lives of passion. So if that sounds good to you, if that's something that you desire more of, let's go. What's up, friends? I'm excited to bring to you another amazing episode of the Life of Passion podcast. In this episode, we talked to Nikki Jade, a good close personal friend of mine who's been on a mission for the last 21 years to help people discover their own inner healer. She came across a modality a long time ago that helped her to heal from celiac disease, chronic body pain, even irregular menstrual cycles, and she's since helped thousands of people to come off of medications, avoid unnecessary surgeries, and so much more. If you want to learn more about her and her work, obviously check out all of the links and information in the show notes below. And if you like this content, then please comment, share, subscribe, and of course hit the notification bell so you can be notified the next time we have an episode. Now, Nikki's one of the most amazing and passionate people that I know. Her energy just comes straight through the screen into wherever you are. So strap in. This is a good one. Welcome, Nikki, to the Life of Passion podcast. You're so high on the list of people that I feel live so passionately and like authentically in it too. It's not a show. You live it and breathe it, and I'm just honored to have you here. So welcome.
Thank you, Dallas.
Yeah. Before we kick off, do you remember the first time that we met? I was thinking about that before the show.
Oh my gosh. I love that this is. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let me think. Phew. There's other people around, like at a gathering. I just can't pin where
Right.
yet.
Yeah.
Share.
Yeah. So it was at a fundraising event for Vivian and Mike Koenigs. Yeah, that was the first time that I met you. And Brendan Bouchard at the time was on his meteoric rise, and he was the guest speaker, keynote speaker. John Assaraf was like the host of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And previously, I was at that time, at this specific time, because this was like 2011, maybe 2012, like maybe early 2012. I think it was
From
like,
like what, 14 years?
I think it was like November 2011. Yeah, right? That's what hit me. I was like, why did I? Holy snikes! So
Totally.
so yeah, that's when I met Jonathan Budd. He was there. Shout out to Jonathan.
Oh my God, our people.
I know. Yeah, that's when I really got plugged in because of him. I got plugged into so much more of the community. And that night was such a magical event for me because I had come from literally a month prior. I was living in a basement, suicidal. And I started really living and breathing the practices that I had been learning, started living them, and started doing my own work, which I now coach and teach, right? But at the time, that was nowhere near my realm. And long story short, I walk into this room of these people who were literally, these people were, some of them were on my vision board. So I walked into my own version of like The Secret. And I'm like,
Cool.
holy shit, it works. I fucking did it. And then I see you, by the way, side note, and then we'll get right into the call. I won't take
Love
over.
it.
Yeah. But side note, I saw you and I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna marry that woman. And then friggin' 2 minutes later, Maverick saddles up like a big friggin' Australian cowboy, and I'm like, oh well, never mind. But we became friends.
So cute. And I love that story. I've never heard that before. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
Sweet love. Oh.
So much, so much, so much. So thank you for being here. I'm going to start off the show with kind of a, I think, a potentially deep question for you. It might be just a softball question, but what do you feel makes or constitutes a life of passion?
Well, first of all, the opening of this conversation is passion to me. Like being fully present with the wow of life. Like here we are 14 years later, and we're talking about some of our favorite peeps that have impacted our life, like Vivian and
Mhm.
Mike and Jay Bud. Like, what a
Mhm.
rock star. Really celebrating all that is, all that was, and all that is yet to be, right? You
Mhm.
talked about having your vision board there. It's literally like, yes, like what would you love while like that desire while having such deep, like chill, inspiring awe for life that you're
Right.
alive another day in this existence? Because we think we can like study and even have near-death experiences or death experiences like my husband who died and he had his
Right.
yeah, he had a 6-minute heart attack, went on the other side, had a whole journey. And I'm like, we all are getting glimpses of maybe a taste of wow, there's more than meets the
Right.
eye, right?
For
Especially in
sure.
nowadays where I feel like the speed of consciousness and awakening is just happening so much faster for
Isn't it though? I really do believe that. I believe things,
you.
yeah, we could talk. I'd love to talk about that, but keep
Like
going, keep going.
myself, my
Yeah.
clients, like everything is just like, let's go. And then the amount of information that's being bombarded at us, like you open up your phone and you're like, oh my God, like I open up my phone. I'm like, why did I even come in here again? Because I turned a couple notifications on, but that is a secret hack is to turn all notifications off, right?
Right. Yeah.
No notifications. I'll come to you when I'm ready.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about this in another episode. So fabulous answer. We can go so many places with what you just shared, obviously, and we will. But we just talked about this in the previous episode of like as technology comes even more rapidly, online and into our lives and part of our experience and even for some people part of their being, which is not in my realm, but for some it will be. It's interesting to still keep this frame of like, how do we have a relationship with technology? And in my world, it's always about making sure I'm in the driver's seat and I'm using it. It's
Yeah.
not using me.
Totally.
And so,
You want to
yeah. So,
live life, right? Especially if anyone
right,
listening is a mama or a papa. It's
right.
like we know how much it takes to hold another human being, right?
Yeah,
Add in one or two more or three more. It's like, yeah, I'd have one more. It's like, oh, it's so much capacity of like,
sure.
how much can our nervous system hold, right? And we
Mm,
all know that like 5G and constant Wi-Fi and like I've been traveling around the world, right? Me and my fam and living
hmm
barefoot in the jungles, Central America. And it's like, oh my God, like my phone wouldn't work unless I went somewhere to connect to the Wi-Fi. Like,
Right, right.
we're so
I mean,
good.
it sounds great. It was so good. Right,
It was so good. Because
right.
now I'm in the US, we're traveling through the States, and it's like there's so much. And it shows me how important it is to have the contrast of how's your nervous system? Like you're
Mm,
doing all these big things. You're doing the all the wellness too to make sure you have high energy to go create, to go make more money,
hmm
go make more impact. Like you're doing all the doing, but how's your nervous system along the way?
mm,
Because I've seen my clients, they're really high achievers. They'll push, 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 and then when they get it, they freaking sabotage it, right? And they're
hmm
like, they
Sure.
have a way of sabotaging it. And it's like that's because our nervous system, in my experience, is that it doesn't have the capacity to hold the more.
Right, right. Yeah, they've been
Yeah.
so conditioned. So it's almost like if the cortisol isn't spiking and they're not getting the next like or click, and in it doesn't feel like they're engaged. It feels like they're disengaged and like something's wrong. But like the biggest life hack in the world is to be able to downregulate your nervous system. So it's like no, like this, like homeostasis. This is the norm, not that.
That
But we.
word that you just said, I feel like that is the proper word of downregulate. But the
Mm,
instant you said that, my body was like upregulate. And I was like, what's that about? And I was trying to follow my thread of consciousness
hmm
with
Oh, do
listening
it.
to
Yeah.
you. And it was like, oh, yeah, like we are literally raising our standards of how much more like up regulate. Like this is the new regular,
Mm,
right? Instead of what's familiar.
hmm
Really, and that's where the most resistance comes in, is when we step into something unfamiliar, right? I've been doing this work for
Sure.
21 years. I know you're in this world too for so long.
Sure.
It's like
Yeah. No,
not
but
only
you've got an amazing specialty that you're so passionate about that we're going to tap into. So, but keep going. Yeah.
cool. I love body mind mapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just like I forget what I was saying.
Yeah.
You bring
No,
body mind mapping, I geek out.
up regulating and building our capacity.
Yeah, a new standard. right? It's a new standard of,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, like at first it feels unfamiliar. So what do people
Mm.
do? They start to sabotage to start to feel more familiar. So it's like,
Sure.
oh, okay, I know how to navigate things. We see this
Mm-hmm.
a lot in relationships, right? When people go back to toxic choices and they're like, why do I keep doing this? And they're stuck in
Mm-hmm.
it, but they're so familiar with it
Right.
that it actually calms our nervous system, as crazy as this sounds,
Mm.
because it's familiar. So we know how to navigate the abuse, or we know how to navigate the
Right.
toxicity or the projection or the narcissism or whatever word is the word for you. We
Sure.
know how to have that in our world. But how's our world without that thing
Right.
that we probably grew up with, right?
Right. Right. Right.
That's
Right.
very
Yeah.
familiar.
Right. That we've created protection mechanisms around and right.
It's in our subconscious mind. Like
Right.
we teach at soul medicine that our body is our subconscious mind. Like
Mm.
this is where
I
our
love that
subconscious
frame.
thoughts live, and it comes out through pain or sensations or
Mm.
chronic message in a certain area. Like that's how our our system is telling us there's something here that's
Right.
it's just it's a down regulation when you're doing an up regulation.
Right. Right. Interesting. Yeah.
It's
I
like
like,
people go to, sorry, one more thing.
no. Yeah.
It's like people go to years of therapy and they say the same story and same story and same story. And then we're like, I'll ask them one question. They tell that story, but I'm like, do you know that we never have to talk about that again? This ain't therapy. Okay. This is about loving your life and just
Totally.
putting a bow on
Hmm.
the thing
That's
that you've
hilarious.
been talking about for the last 10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. Who are you without that story? I wonder what kind of answers do you get from people?
The best. Like, this is why I'm still doing this for 21 years because
Right. Sure. Sure.
they get to meet their heart for the first time in a long time. Like,
Mm.
I mean, I could just call this meet your heart work, but a lot of people are still relating with their pain. That's where it got
Mm.
me. That
Sure.
was my entry point to finally loving my life,
Mm.
right? It was like go there, and body mind mapping gives us all the shortcut to go and
Mm.
have that exact conversation for that exact issue because it's all
Yeah.
mapped out, right? I talked
Yeah.
about that in my TEDx talk where it's like my mentor story is just mind blowing.
Hmm.
So we could talk about that.
Yeah. 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 Let's. I mean, one of the things I want to ask, one of the next kind of questions is of course, that'll be maybe one of the things that we talk about or even talk about the most. But maybe other than or in addition to my body map, what are you really passionate about in your life right now?
Besides body mind mapping, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the sisters in my life have just
Mhm.
been soul nourishing,
Yeah.
alone in the jungle. And if I'm going to events like an hour drive and it's different than
Wow.
being surrounded by friends all the time.
Sure.
So it's been really fun. Yeah, just creating and building team again. That's
Mm.
really exciting for me. My
Oh,
life is
yeah.
very like mission centered. So
Sure.
it's hard to like think about. But my children, oh my God, they are just the most magical beings. I'm just so
Yeah.
in awe of like who they choose to be every day and just watching a child grow up without being told who they should be and what they should do is like a gift to myself, really.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, because I think
I hope the parents really get that hear this. Yeah.
and it's
Uh,
hard as parents because we're being told so many stories of what's right and what's wrong. And
sure.
oh my God, in my world, there just is no right and wrong. It's like, what's great for that soul? For me, the
Hmm.
most empowering thing we can do as parents is understand our child's, human design, right? We call it soul
Yeah.
signature. Like that's a
Right.
part of it. Is human design is like get that soul
Yeah.
signature of who that person is on all levels. And
Sure.
then what navigates, like what's going to support them? And it's going to be different.
Mm.
All three of my babies are so different. And it's so
Right.
cool to have like different experiences of parenting, like, well, for my
Mm.
daughter, I do this because she is a magical soul that is its own thing
Right.
and psychic and like all these crazy stuff that
I'm sure.
I got to expand myself so much because I've had to learn how to hold the space for her, to,
Hmm.
so
Amazing.
I'm
Yeah, you're
passionate about my kids.
such a passionate mama. I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm not a parent, but and I have a lot of clients that I've been working with over the years, helping them to reparent themselves because of all the conditioning that we get. And you're speaking to how to be a parent and do as best as you can because it's not going to be perfect no matter. I don't care who you are.
Exactly.
But
Make tell. He
and,
did.
yeah, and as good as you guys are doing, in terms of letting their own soul kind of guide, and you being a steward for that and a supporter of that, and not necessarily telling them who they have to be. I think that's massive. I think about that, like how much I would, yeah, how potentially how different our life would be, and no regret whatsoever. It's just a matter of like, oh, that's just, it's really interesting to think about, because I remember there was a time in about 2011 when we were all in kind of Encinitas community, even 2012, and some of our friends started having babies, even yourself, and I remember seeing these babies for the first time, and they just were popping out of the womb like, hello, we're here now. And I remember looking at one of these children like, oh, this is different. This is different. These kids are like choosing, like, okay, them right there. We're coming in to do X, fill in the blank, and they're soul selecting and I believe that we all have, but they're doing it at a completely different level of awareness. And obviously, they'll have to go through their own journey, and their own hero's journey, and kind of remember this stuff for themselves. But it's just amazing. It's amazing, these children, and your children are examples of that, and so is your parenting is example of the new stewardship that I'm excited about. So
So
yeah,
passionate.
yeah, yeah. So you're passionate about all things, but obviously, when we were in California, I got to come to like a 1 day seminar that I did with you, and experience a little of the mind body map, and just hear a little bit of the story, which is incredible. So if you're not tired of telling it, you're welcome to tell it here. But yeah, so this work that you're so passionate about, tell us about it.
Yeah. So a lot of people do call it mind body map, but it's actually body because we start with the
Body,
brain
mind.
and
I
then
got
we
it.
use the body to go to the mind. So it's body, mind, and then we have a map of, do you know those little mind maps where it's like a circle and then there's all these
Hmm.
little
I love
bubbles
that tool.
connecting it?
Hmm.
So that's exactly what the body mind map is like. It's like if someone's having an issue in their right shoulder, for example, right?
Hmm.
We're going to go to the body mind map, open it up, and there's going to be the shoulder in the center. And then there's going to be these options of what
Gotcha.
could be a possible conversation starter that's going to help this person go into consciously into the shoulder pain, the right side specifically,
Hmm.
with these thought pops of like, what about this?
Right.
Right? And then they'll go down a thread and the pain will go because they got the message. Like,
Right.
it's it still blows my mind, and that's
Hmm.
why I still do this. So,
Yeah. One of my favorite things in the world. I think, I don't know that I had heard of any other system prior to yours. I might have. Yet, regardless, there's some recollection in me where when I heard the concept, either for the first or second time through your system, I was like, holy, of course. Holy shit, this just makes so much sense. It was like this just feeling in my body, and ever since I've been obsessed. And I don't know, yours is not the only one, but I would say it's one of the quickest ones. Meaning, like, it's there, cool, and like you said, there's these directions we could go in, and you just ask a certain question, have somebody remember a certain event, connects to the pain. They're able to remember and process it. The pain says, oh, you saw me now, you got the message, cool. And then poof.
yes,
Oh, that's
exactly.
holy shit, right? Like
That's what
it's amazing.
I love our like our live. We have Heal Your Life now. It's 6 weeks. They learn how to use the science on themselves.
Okay.
It comes with live group calls. What I
Mhm.
love on these live group calls is someone will get in the hot seat, literally, Dallas, within 10 minutes, which could be on the longer side. Before 10 minutes, they have a breakthrough because
Mhm.
the body led me to it.
Right.
Right. And so I'm sitting here going, okay, tell me where your body is going. I'm just going to look it up in the
Mhm.
map and you're going to be much lighter. If the pain doesn't completely disappear, it'll
Mhm.
go from like an 8 to a 4, an
Right.
8 to a 3. And then within like an hour or two, it'll be gone.
And for some people with chronic pain, that is you're just world changing in that moment, where it's like it's this constant thing and an eight in the back of their mind. They're trying to navigate through their day, a lot of times with pharmaceuticals, and then not having to need that.
Yeah, or avoid surgery
Sure.
or The
Sure.
other thing that we see a lot as soul medicine is food allergies, because
Ah,
that's how my journey really started was with
okay.
celiac disease.
Right. I
And so
remember that. Yeah.
gluten allergy, and this was 21 years ago, Dallas, when
Hmm.
no one knew what gluten was.
Right.
So I'm in New York City, right? You would think there'd be so many options. There was one option called Baby Cakes Bakery. They just rebranded the name. I follow them sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
they were my spot where all of my extra paycheck went
Yeah.
to. It's like a $14 cupcake, but I needed the experience to have a cupcake because gluten was in everything at the time.
Right.
So
Right.
I couldn't eat out anymore, which was my whole point of living in New York City is I would literally eat my way through the city.
Oh, it's a
And
foodie city for sure.
yeah, exactly. And in my single days, like if a guy would ask me out to a date, I'm like, hold on, let me open up my Zagat book. I'm gonna pick the restaurant. And I would just pick the best restaurant that had an experience, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it was so fun until I
Mm.
got this gluten life-threatening allergy. And so it's really scary when you're in it and you're when someone's diagnosed with something, and I went through it personally,
Yeah.
whether for you something different than a food allergy like celiac disease, but if it's like cancer or diabetes or something
Mm.
that's bigger, this is
Mm-hmm.
something you gotta do every day, have fear about and manage.
Sure.
And then they'll say you need to be on these prescriptions to avoid the cancer coming back. We've worked with people
Right.
who had breast cancer, let's say, and they went through the whole procedure, the chemo, even when they cut them off. And then they'll come back and find us and go, oh my God, is there a root cause message to this? And I'm like, yes. So it's never too late. I want to let people know,
Mm.
like, if you already had the surgery or if you had a knee issue and you
Mm-hmm.
fixed it and you're worried it might come back, or if you had cancer and you're worried it might come back, get the root cause message, right? We get to still tie a bow around it so it doesn't have
Yes.
to come back. And
Right.
so all different walks of life get to really benefit from healing their pain, whatever
Yeah.
form it shows up in, right?
Yes. And clearly, you're passionate about this. Everyone watching will see that. Um, so, how did you discover this?
Mm, it
If
started, yeah.
yeah, if you're
Yeah. I'll give you just a quick backstory of the Cliff Note version. My menstrual cycle stopped because I hated it, and I was so
mm,
happy the first month. The first month I was like I hated my period every month
mm,
so much because I got the headaches, the low back pain, the cramps. I would lay down on
mm,
the couch with a heating pad, pop some Advil, just be in pain.
mhm,
I manage it. And so I hated it so much. I prayed to God. I'm like, you have to change this. And like literally my period stopped for a month, three
mm,
months. By the 3 month mark, I started trying everything to get it back because I realized I want to have babies one day, obviously. I
right,
need a healthy womb. I need my period. I need like health down there.
right,
So I was trying everything to get my period back for 9 months total.
mm,
Nothing worked. I was doing acupuncture, all the things. I loved them all. It helped me connect to my body more. But it didn't come back. So my friend invited me to this workshop in New York City, and it was like just this little gathering with this older shaman guy, and he was
mm,
teaching about body language. And I don't know about you, but I'm a projector in human design, and I
mm,
love
me too.
people watching. I'm
Mhm.
like, most of the world, 80% is asking, who am I? Right? And the
Right.
projectors of the world are like, who are you?
Yes, that's why I love this show. That's why I love doing this.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nailed it. Fucking
Love
nailed it. Yeah.
it. Yeah. Mav's been teaching human design for over 20 years, like
Hmm.
before we met. And it was just so cool the accuracy of it. So
Hmm.
my friend invites me to this body language workshop where you learn about the feet, like if they walk like this versus
Right.
if one foot's in, or if they're both pointed in, or the shoulders, facial expression. So I'm like
Mm.
interested,
Right.
$97, enough interested. It was still
Hmm.
expensive at the time, but I did it. I overcame the resistance here in
Right.
Dallas after spending thousands and maybe
Yeah. Right.
my
Oh
world,
my
hundreds of
God.
thousands in personal development. It
Sure.
all starts with that first hundred, though.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how they get you.
I mean, I'm so glad I got, let me tell
Seriously.
you, because
True story.
I went to this workshop and I was fascinated, right?
Hmm.
And he made this like 10K offer of like intimate mentorship of learning
Hmm.
his crazy brain and his crazy system. And it was like, I was definitely tempted, but I could not afford 10K at the time. I was like,
Hmm.
I'm just getting rent and food? Like,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, no. And I was leaving. And he was like, wait, Nikki, let me work on you for a second. So I go on the table and he asked me one question. People are still watching, and I'm like a little nervous. But then he asked me the same question. He knew exactly where to go in my body and asked me the exact question to have me break down. I have never
Right.
cried so much in my entire life. Like it was like a life pent up thing for me. And I started
Mm.
crying and crying and crying. Dallas, the next day, I woke up and I got my menstrual cycle back full
A
on,
day later.
healthy, perfect
Wow.
color. I celebrated, I danced, I celebrate my menstrual cycle every day I get it. Like when I get it now, it's like the whole
Mm.
relationship changed. You know, when you lose something and then you're like, oh my God, when I get this back,
Don't know what you got till it's gone. That's
I'm
right.
gonna cherish this.
Right.
That was my promise, and it is happening. And so I called his assistant and I was like, I need to learn whatever this man can do. And I went to him. I wasn't even expecting to be able to heal my celiac disease because at the
Mm.
time they said you have it for life and it is severe. And
Right.
so
Right.
if there's a breadcrumb on your plate, you can get like sick, die. It was extreme. And I was like, okay, like when someone gives you the death threat, you're like, I'm not going to eat
Right.
gluten and I'm going to be a freak about it being in sauce. Was there a beer? I couldn't drink beer, no vodka. So all
Right.
my, habits that numb myself with, I
Yeah.
couldn't
We're gone, taken
do
from you.
anymore. Exactly.
Hmm.
I was eating carrots and celery, but it brought me to my mentor because it brought me to the deepest low, like you said at the beginning of this call, of like how low you got before your big breakthrough. That
Mm-hmm.
was no food, no alcohol, no real food. I had to eat
Mm.
salads and
Yeah.
rabbit
And
food.
like you said, even back then there weren't as many options anywhere, let alone New York.
Oh,
And so yeah, you were really, like you said, eating rabbit food because that's what you had available.
and here was the worst part. Like the universe just wanted to add a little comedy into this. I'm Italian Lebanese, and my Lebanese teta, my grandma, every Sunday she would make the biggest feast, okay?
Right.
And I couldn't eat any of it. Like it was torture. And she's like, I don't believe in food allergies. This is crazy. I was
Right. Yeah, it's cool because they didn't know they weren't as poisoned as we have been, so
like,
they didn't know food
exactly.
allergies. Yeah.
So I was all when my mentor was like, so what's up? What do you got going on in your body? And I'm like, well, I got my period back, first of all. Hey. Second of all, I mean, just this lifelong thing I have, celiac disease. He's like, oh, I can help you heal that. And I'm like the first person that ever said that to me. Like,
Mm,
what an honor that I get to be that person for some people, of like,
sure.
wait, you're telling me I can heal this? I'm like, yes, you can.
Right.
Right?
Yes, you
We
can.
went on
Yeah.
our journey, and within 6 months, 3 to 6 months, I had an Italian boyfriend, and he would order a piece of pizza, and this was my way of eating it. I would just smell it,
Yeah.
and then I'd eat this carrot or some bull crap that I had to do. And
Right.
then he's like, I started working with my mentor, and he was like, just have a bite. And I was like, he's like, no, know that you're not going to die. And my Italian boyfriend was like, have a bite. So I was like, I had a bite, and I was like, I'm
Mm.
okay. I'm not having any of the symptoms. I'm not dying.
Mm.
Ended up being a half a piece of pizza until he bought my own slice for me. He's like, you need your own piece now.
Right.
And then I realized I'm just eating gluten again. I'm not sick. And my body, because I actually went in, right? And you know how people say there's like layers, how sometimes things come back. So
Mm.
my mentor took me straight to the root because my small intestines were talking to me, right? They could not digest the gluten. So he
Right.
knew where to go. He could see it. After I started healing it and repairing my body, the similar message came through on threads like if I experienced plant medicine or working with
Mm.
a shaman, not someone who calls himself a shaman, but someone
Right.
who actually
Actually.
is a walking.
Right.
I don't need to go there.
Mhm.
Okay, so I got other layers, and there were these ancient tribes like re-sewing my small intestine. And
Mm.
so wherever the body was talking to us,
Mm.
let it continue to show up without judgment,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, oh, it's you. I know what you're here to talk to me about.
Yeah.
What is it, right? And then the pain gets to heal and like literally repair itself.
Yeah. I mean, just brilliant. I love it. I'm so grateful for you doing that work in the world and to know you and have you be happy and be the happy, healthy person that you are. Such a blessing. So I'm glad it found you. And yeah, and it makes me think of a couple things. Like I've been teaching in my own work that your challenges are your greatest gifts, and helping people to kind of go inward and understand why these things are appearing in their life, and have these kind of internal soul conversations to figure it out, whether it's a life event or or a body illness. And so it's like that reminder that uh, that your body is talking to you, and that it's pointing you in a direction, and that there's a gift on the other side of this, because not only did you get like another level of like a vibrant life, it forced you to then work through so many other, I'm sure, patterns and conditionings, right, that were either trapping you, or that you had beliefs around. And then on top of that, to then be a steward of it in the world, to be of service with it and live a passionate life. So it's like
Yes.
truly, truly,
And
those was your
that
greatest gift.
the career change. I was in the
Right.
fashion, I was in the fashion design industry. And it
Mm,
just like I instantly, the moment that I was able to eat gluten again, really, I was like, I am doing this for others. Like
mm.
I'll figure it out. I have no clue where to start.
Right.
But I think I'm still doing this 21 years later because
Mhm.
it was built on passion.
Right.
Right? And then it's like when that passion's there, you figure it out.
Mhm.
God will show
Amen.
just I remember Vivian Glick, I interviewed her in this summit that I did, and she just dropped so much wisdom. And
Mm,
she that something that stuck with me was this one thing. She said, just do the best next thing for you. Like just the one next best step
mhm.
in the direction. That's it. And I'm like,
Right. One of my questions is going to be how do you live a passion life for those who are struggling, right there, right? I'll let you come up with another answer if you want to, but that's a fantastic one
that's
for those listening.
great. No, live the queens. The queens are speaking through the
Right.
queens.
Right. Just do the next, yeah, the one next best step. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's all we can do. I've been in the depths of like a dark night of the soul, rebirths and deaths and so forth. And sometimes that's all that you can do is you're hoping to be able to have clarity on that one next step. And a lot of times people do have it, but their own doubts and fears are keeping them from taking that first leap of faith, so to speak.
Oh my gosh. And I always keep in like in my knowingness that
Hmm.
whenever a grief wave comes, it's here literally expanding our heart. Like the
Mm.
deeper that we can feel the pain and really be present with it, the
Hmm.
deeper on the other side is the mountaintop, right? Where it's like, oh, like breathtaking life.
Mm.
And it can come through a squirrel. It can come through a butterfly. Like it can come through a waterfall. Like that's the beautiful thing. It's not like you have to book this first class ticket to Bali to stay at the most
Right.
beautiful villa in order to have this experience. Like it gets to come in the hot shower.
Right.
Whatever.
Love
It's an
that.
inner thing because you felt the pain, you felt the depths of it. You're
Hmm.
not afraid of it,
Hmm.
right? And when you're not
Yeah.
afraid of that, you're also not going to be afraid of the amount of bliss that you're capable of holding.
Right. Right.
It's
Yeah.
like,
If I
okay,
can survive that, then shit, this is gravy. This right. Yeah. Yeah, so it was actually, I'm now remembering something too. I think not I think I know, because I've used this so many times since you and so I'm crediting you, and whenever I do remember, I try and, for everyone watching, plagiarism, it's still a fucking thing. Okay, I don't care about your AI chat bots. If you know that came from somebody, fucking credit them, gosh darn it. So, so whenever I know something's come from somebody, I'll credit them. And I've used quite a bit in my work that the universe, God, whatever term you want to call it, your body also, right? Obviously our subconscious is our body. I love that frame. So true. Thank you. And also our intuition comes through. And you see the thing that I've used from you more than once is the message will come through a feather, a brick, or a truck. Right?
yes, I love
And
that.
so
I
if
have
you
been
if you
saying
miss one, you're getting the other. So
that. You are so
start listening.
awesome. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's right. Because it's our friend. The pain is has a message. It's like
Mm-hmm.
if you're driving down the road and a red light goes off in your car, you're not gonna grab a
Mm-hmm.
hammer and freaking smash it. No, you're gonna pull over, hopefully at a freaking mechanic and go,
Right.
can you look at this? Right?
Right.
So it's like the same with our body. If your body's talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
stop and listen. Like, what's more important than that? Like, seriously, I can't tell you. I've worked with billionaires, millionaires. I can't tell you how much of their money goes to repairing their health,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
Preach.
they're dropping 25K with me going, I need you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I need you because I pushed past my body's signals. I didn't listen. And
Mm-hmm.
now I have the money to repair it while looking at my ocean view,
Right.
have
Right.
villa with a chef and a maid. It's great. But
Right.
they now have to listen to their body. So we can't like avoid it. You know what I mean? You don't
Totally.
want to be old and feeling old and having all your stuff because the louder it gets, the heavier it gets, right? It's
Mm.
like we don't want
Wow.
to be knocked on our ass, right? The nursing homes, the
Right.
wheelchairs. People think
Yeah.
their eyesight's meant to get worse. I'm like,
Right. So with this work, I think in addition to the body mind map, but even just how we listen to life, how we navigate life. Like, I remember the first time I stubbed a toe and I just stopped and I tuned in. This is something I'm always telling my clients: tune in before you tune out. So I immediately tuned in, and I was like, "What was I just thinking about? What's the emotional state that I like? What am I feeling that I stubbed that toe in this moment?" Right? And so if I'm
how
hearing
it
you
works.
correctly, so you would agree. Okay, so this is
That's
where I
how
this
it
is where I
works.
want you to
I
go.
thought you were inside our program for a
Okay.
second. You've just been
No.
studying.
Okay. Yeah, I have. I
Love
don't
it.
have it. I don't got it
Pause.
like you got it, but
Listen to the feathers and exactly what you're doing, Dallas.
mm,
No one's perfect at it. We're all in a
mm,
human body, so there's a delay, right? We're not these light
sure.
beings. So
Right.
there's this delay. The moment that you can make the gap from the pain to you
Hmm.
being back in bliss and presence and awareness
Hmm.
shorter is the quicker that you listen to it, which is exactly what you did. That's the
Gotcha.
exact right
Beautiful.
next step of
Right.
what was I just thinking that caused this.
Mm, yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much here for people listening. I have another question in terms of like, it's one thing to kind of figure these things out for yourself and get a methodology, have your life change, have this cool story, and then make this your work. And it's another thing though to like maintain it and to live it consistently. And so what would like in terms of like not only like living a passionate life or kind of stumbling into it for some people they do it intentionally, for some people they stumble into it. Doesn't matter how you got there, but once you're there, how do you suggest people like really maintain
Mm,
living like a high level kind of passionate life? Because a lot of times, like I said, inconsistency or events happen. It takes them down into the depths again. The struggles come. What do you do? How do you?
mm.
Because I don't I know you're human and you must have some bad days. I have to imagine a bad day once in a
Bad.
blue moon. Okay.
Bad.
But knowing you, I would never know it. So
What is bad though? We're going to talk about
right,
it in a second.
yes, yeah, no, no.
Hold on. Hold on. This is
So
so
that's more for the audience. I don't believe in good or bad either. But just
oh good. No, we're going to
it,
expand it because
you get
what
the idea though. Yeah.
we're gonna actually go into it.
Okay.
So here's where we are. You stub your toe. You said you might some people stumble in. I think about you stubbing your toe.
Hmm.
And so here's the deal. You asked the right question, right? Of what was I just thinking? But if you're anything like I more was, where I have 1,000 thoughts per hour, I'm still busy. I'm still very creative. I'm still very
Right.
love daydreaming. So we have lots of thoughts, is my
Mm.
point. Lots of thoughts. So how do you pin which thought it was that's talking through your right big toe?
Mm.
Right? And so was that your
Mhm.
challenge of, woo, it's the right question, but did you get an answer?
I don't I just remember like knowing enough to stop and have the conversation.
Great.
And at the time, I also knew enough about, like, the right side of the body being the masculine, the
Yes.
left side different in the brain because the brain hemispheres are crossed, things like that. I knew a little bit of from your workshop, but also a little bit from Louise Hay. So just kind of enough of like, okay, what's the feet? It's like foundation, it's direction. Why is it on the right side? It's the masculine. So I kind of, but I,
Yes.
I didn't have
Oh,
specific questions. I didn't know
yes.
which toe connected to what, those things.
That's what I love about the body mind map is literally big toe is different than the pinky toe, which is different than
Amazing.
the middle
Crazy.
toe. And it's like
Crazy.
the accuracy of it just freaking blows my mind.
Right, right.
So, all right, I love that. So yeah, I would, if you're having an intense day, right? We can call it intense. We can call it because you really do, for anyone watching, you want to be aware of how many times you use the word right and wrong and good and bad, because that comes with a
Agreed.
judgment, that comes with a story, that comes with a
Sure.
reference from the past,
Right.
really. And I think the goal of, not the goal, enlightened beings are present. They
Right.
don't have a goal.
Right. So true, right? Which is
So,
weird to think about. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So
I can't say I'm quite there yet, but I'm getting that. I'd like to
it's
believe
kind of
I
cool.
get it. I get it, mentally. Yeah, keep going.
The more present you get to be, and
Hmm.
me and Mav, we met and got married after 2 hours of knowing each other. You already know our
Hmm.
story,
Yeah, it's
but
incredible. That's a whole nother show, by the way.
I, he'll come on that one with us.
Yeah. All right.
I knew that he was the one. And he said this thing to me. He's like, my goal is to make you laugh every single day for the next 80 plus years. And I was like, in. And guess what, Dallas? Like, he makes me laugh every single day. And
Mm.
so I think that's a big factor to loosening and lightening up the intensity of life and being human
Yeah.
and having a body and feeling
Yes.
emotions and dealing with betrayal and heartache and shock, right?
Sure.
And
Right.
so as we
Shock.
as we navigate all that, the
Yeah.
lightness that like why can fairies fly? It's because they take
Mm.
everything kind of lightly.
Mm.
There's some
Right.
really great quote that I did not say it correctly here, but you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They need a
Hmm.
lightness. And I think that's really important for people to just add, even if it's just a drop more today. Like you might
Right.
be so serious today, you got a lot to do. But
Right.
if you can add in a little bit more play, I bet you it's going to be even more productive, which is
Yeah.
your intuitive, right?
Yeah.
And I love how you brought up the intuition.
Yeah.
That is the goal
Yeah.
of medicine to heal the pain so you can hear and connect to your intuition. So your intuition is louder than the pain,
Mm.
right? Oh,
Yes. Oh, yeah, I'm writing that down too. I wrote down a couple of things. If you ever see me doing this
I know what you're doing.
per audience, but also per guest, yeah, yeah.
We
Let the
got your number, Dallas.
yeah, let let the intuition.
Mic drop. No,
Yeah.
I just think having play is so important. Life is serious enough and it's so short and we get to see that through
Yeah.
physical people dying and then our own
Sure.
internal ego deaths, whatever,
Yeah.
like a story that an identity shift,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. It, honestly, there's so much more that we could unpack. Yeah, I'm like my brain is like, okay, do I take her back to something? Is there another question to ask? There's so much here. Well, I will say this. Okay. So, in terms of, living a passionate life, clearly finding something or letting something find you that you are passionate about doing, huge. That's a key. You've brought it here. In terms of maintaining a passionate life or feeling passionate about life, lightening up, having humor on a consistent basis, if not every day, couldn't agree more. And Mav is a great one for that because he's either intentionally funny or sometimes just goofy and unintentionally funny. But either way, just so light and funny. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's so cool. So, and yeah, it's great. And I also, a little insight, I know that there was times when you guys had challenges and you were able to make it through. And I'm sure having those remembrances of, oh yeah, let's bring it back to lightness. Let's remember that, why we're here. And I'm sure that took some work too.
And really, knowing that he's my best friend and I'm his best
Mm.
friend,
Right.
and to be able to hold each other as I remember after he had his heart attack and I was coming back, that was one example. And then another example, I went to Hawaii for 2 weeks by myself after becoming
Mm.
a mother. It was like a big deal for me. And
Sure.
I was like, I have to do this. God's making it so clear. And
Mm.
it's so hard, but I overcame the resistance. So that's another thing of like,
Okay. Overcome the
I
resistance.
think
Yeah.
God will open up doors, but we have to have the courage to walk through them.
Mm.
Like to live a life in service and growth and knowing that
Passion.
there's
Yeah.
always more, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so I think knowing in relationship that they're reflections for us, right? They're
hmm
here to help us. Like I truly believe our world mirrors back to us things that we need to see for our own evolution, right?
So true.
When we can
Yeah.
take that radical responsibility,
Yeah.
there's no blame, there's no, things that usually break up marriages is the blame and
Yeah.
the stuff that really sabotages and brings people further apart. And when the goal
Mm.
is to come and be together in love,
Mm.
right? It's
Totally.
bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Like,
Mm.
I am you, you are me. We're in this together. We have our three
Yeah.
little bobbies. It's just, I love my little Bam Bam.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, I like that you said, he's my best friend. It's like this remembrance of like, even if you're in the heat of the moment of like this tumultuous fight or difficult, event or argument, there's this, what I'm taking from this is like, there's this remembrance of like, oh, you don't intentionally want to harm me. My body, right, coming back to the body, might be feeling like that's the case because it's being triggered by something in my past, but you're my best friend. You're not intentionally trying to hurt me. There's something else here that I get to see, or we get to see, to just work through this together. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
massive. It's
And what I
massive.
love about Maverick and I, we're both projectors. We
Oh, I
love,
didn't know he was too.
we're twins.
Oh, okay.
We love the truth. It's something that's
Mm,
just so important to us.
mm,
And so, as hard, I think a lot of marriages either fall apart or they stay together, but out of like obligation and they lie to each other or they cheat and like they do all
mm,
this stuff without actually being honest with each other. I think that that's huge. Like, and have those
mm.
hard conversations, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if there was a final, two things. One, if people are just really want to learn more or even work with you in terms of the body mind map, what do
Good
they do?
job.
Yeah,
I
good.
said good job, like you did
Oh,
body.
thanks.
Body, mind, map. Yeah, they can go to soulmedicine.com.
Okay.
From there, they can grab a free meditation, a cutting cords one, because
hmm
I don't know if you're like me, but when I love someone, I freaking love them for life. And then
Mm.
if they end up hurting me or betraying me, I still love them and I need to cut cords.
Clean it. Yeah.
And and so it's called a cutting cords meditation. It's really for anything from your past that's still kind of lingering and you might not be consciously aware of it. So I just take
Sure.
you in for 9 minutes and we've had so much amazing feedback of like ladies'
Cool.
ex-boyfriends when they cut cords with him, he ended up texting her. And I'm like,
Right.
that's mind-blowing to me. So
All right.
that they can get. And then from there, they'll see my Instagram, which is
Mm-hmm.
nikkijade.xoxo. And
Mm-hmm.
I share my life there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see it. I see it all the time. Cool. Well, thank you for being on. Is there a final nugget about living a passionate life that you would, a life of passion that you'd like to share, or do you feel like you nailed it? Something coming up?
I'm thinking of you, Dallas, and how you're bringing the passion back. And even if you're, traveling around the states and, or on
Mm-hmm.
a camping excursion or surfing at the beach,
Mm-hmm.
you find a way to make space for what you're passionate about right now, which is having these conversations. And so I think it's really cool reminder for people that when you're passionate about something, you actually also have to take action to like
Mm-hmm.
bring it to life.
Right.
Like Dallas had to get here and show up, right? And like make it happen while on a road trip. I think it's
Right. Right. Right.
cool to
Yeah.
like,
For those watching, thank you for the acknowledgement. Finish your sentence. Sorry, I jumped in.
I think it's really cool when we take action that's
Mm-hmm.
inspired by passion because they say you don't want work to feel like play, but it's like, I mean, you don't want your work to feel hard. You want it to feel
Good.
like
Yeah.
play. And so when you're passionate about it, it feels like play.
Amen. Yeah. That really is like why I restarted this and am doing this, show slash podcast because one, I need the constant inspiration and reminders. Number
Mm.
two, though, it really is one of the most fun things that I enjoy the most in life is having these conversations. And to bring it back to what you said earlier, it's the projector in me, right? Like, yeah, I want to know about you. Tell me about you.
You're
So,
perfect.
yeah,
So in flow.
I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna make sure, obviously, that your contact info is in the show notes. Thank you for being here. Clearly, such a great example of someone who lives a passionate life. So many nuggets here for people, and I just appreciate and honor and love you. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. And if anything lands for you listening, tag us, tag me in Dallas. I love to share and meet you in my stories. So I love
Amen.
connecting with you. Say hello. What landed for you? What made you think a little differently or
Mhm.
believe for more? Dallas, thanks
And
for.
that, yeah, my pleasure. And that's the challenge for anyone watching. Like what is the thing that you're going to do today to add a little bit more passion to your life? So
Yeah. I
peace
love
out.
that personal connection, you know?
Mhm.
Send us a
Amen.
message. Love you.
Bye, everybody.